Hi everyone and welcome to the Pokken Tournament DS review. Enjoy it. So, what is Pokken Tournament DS? It's a fighting game, a more specific a 3D arena fighting game, something similar to Tekken or Soul Calibur in the Pokemon universe. Now, let's talk about first the graphics. I actually was a little surprised how this game looks actually pretty good. Yes, you can see there is actually a little bit of low texture, but it's not actually that bad. And I wish the main Pokemon franchise, the Pokemon they look like this good on fully 3D. I actually really enjoy it. The same with arenas. It's a good looking game. Now, what about the sound? When it comes to the sound, it does the job, nothing really special. The same with the music, I think the music is okay. And the voice acting is actually pretty good. I was not really expecting a lot of voice acting, but there is because there is actually a story. So, how the story works is actually similar to the arcade for a lot of fighting games. So, in this one, you go, you fight some enemies, players, you fight some matches and you rank up, and then you need to go to that tournament, you fight the champion of the league, and then you trigger a little bit of a cutscene, and you need to repeat that because that's how you trigger, the main story, and you need to complete various leagues, and then you actually go focus more in the story. So when it comes to the story, when it comes to the lore, I don't think it's actually amazing. I just was surprised that there actually cutscene and there is actually a main story. Even if I think it's actually mediocre, you meet different characters. It's fully, like I say, voice acting cutscene, but still it's actually a little mediocre. It's actually really repetitive, to be really honest. Now I do understand it's a fighting game, but when you actually complete the main 4 league, you need to participate in the tournament, you actually can revisit the events from the main story, and you need to complete another league. It's just the same, just with tougher NPC. So it's a mediocre story. It does the job, but it will last you, the main story will last you probably like 3 hours, but it can get really repetitive because of the same formula. Now, one thing I don't like about the story is when you ranking up in a tournament, you can't change your character. The only way that you can change your character is if you actually back off of the tournament or the rank ups. It depends what you're doing, but it actually delete your progress. So let's say that you're in a tournament and you already defeat 3 enemies, just 5 of them, and you want to change the character, you actually lose that progress. And when you are in the tournament, in the last season, you actually can't change your support. So the support that you actually pick is the one that you stay. You can't change it in the tournament. Honestly, I actually don't really enjoy it. It is kind of stupid that you actually lose progress if you want to change a character, or they lock up with your support you can change in the tournament. It is something stupid. It really is, and I like it. But it's a fun game mode, even it is like the main story. But how the game plays? So this game is actually plays like, I would say, typical something like Soul Calibur or maybe Tekken. You got your your grapple, attack, overhead, all those stuff that you may expect for a fighting game. Now the difference between this one and a lot of fighting games like Tekken is there is actually 2 phases. So there's dual phase and field phase. I will explain a little bit how they work. So dual phase is when you actually close up the gap between your enemy and it focuses more on melee attacks. So a little bit more traditional fighting game. When dual phase, that's when you knock out the enemy away from you. You actually can do a lot of range attack, and you have different attacks. The same with your camera. Your camera actually change the view, and how you control your character actually change it a little bit. I actually don't really enjoy it. It's a little annoying, not because some characters are not stronger. It just, I actually not really like it because you actually control your characters like it's kind of tedious control your characters. Plus you actually locking some move or some characters just because they are not in the phase. I just think it's really little annoying. And when you are in the dual phase, you actually cannot lock in that it's you feel like you're locked, that you actually can move, and I actually really enjoy it. Now another thing that the game has is support, and this is another thing that I thought me enjoy it, because you actually have different Pokemons, but it's kinda limit. First, you actually have to choose between pairs. So therefore, for example, let's say that you want Espion and you want Snivy. You can do it because they are not belong in the same group. So if you got Espion, you need to have Umbreon. Now every round you choose one of them. So it's not like you have both. So let's say you choose Espion and Umbreon, you already have one choice between rounds. And that's, I guess, fine, but my problem is it takes a little longer to use them, and when you use it, it's kinda a little bit useless just because you actually are vulnerable. So when you use it, you actually can get attacked, or worse, they can actually trigger the ultimate and hit you, and it's just it's not safe. It really is not safe. It's like a risk, and actually not really think that should be. Now another thing that you have is the boss board. So it's like a super board. And you play fighting games, it does similar stuff, but there is actually when you take hits, they take that stuff, so you lose a little bit of your board when you get hit. But when you actually have a full, you can trigger, you do like this, like awakening, and you are in this mode, you do more damage. It's actually really OP because you do more damage, you take less damage, you heal, you actually have armor, plus you actually have new abilities, plus you actually have your ultimate. It's really broken. You can do this every round, that I think is the same, because it's actually a little broken. And I actually like with this board, they actually give you more attacks, like more super move. The reason is because I don't think it should be locked, it should be from the beginning. Now, if you want to give me the super move, that's fine. I don't have any problem with the super move, but I think this mechanic is actually really OP. And when it comes to the support and the phases, I think honestly, I enjoy the game, but there is a lot of mechanic in the game that I think they're just pretty annoying. So when it comes to the gameplay, I think the gameplay is actually okay, but I wish they remove the phase and the support. They do more variations. And when it comes to the boss board, I feel like they should do the middle differently, not lucky. That's the problem with this game. Like, I don't know, I wish they have different ideas when they come with these mechanics. But what about the stages? So when it comes to the stages, they actually quite differently. Of course they look different, but they come in different sizes. Some of them are more bigger than others, different shapes, round, maybe a little bit of oval. So now there's no gimmicks, like you're not gonna have something bother you. There's no interaction, although you can actually wall the enemy and just hit them in the wall, something like Tekken or maybe Sword Calibur. So that is there, and I'm actually fine with this. I wish there was actually different variation of shapes of the battlefield, just because a lot of them are just round, maybe one square, I don't know, something little different, but it's not actually that bad. Now every character plays differently, and that's what I like. Now they actually choose a lot of really popular characters like Pikachu, Gengar, Mewtwo. They got Lucario, they got Sceptile, they got Blastoise, they got Charizard, they got Scizor. A lot of really popular characters. Not a lot of characters that are in the game that are actually really like no one knows. Like every character, or for the most part, I would say like 90% of the characters are actually really popular, especially in the main roster, just because you got support. And a lot of these characters, they are in the support, they help you, and they're cool, and they do similar stuff like the other ones. Not a lot, but you can see a little bit of similarity when it comes to the support. But when it comes to the main roster, they actually play quite differently. Even like Pikachu and Pikachu Lucha, they actually play quite differently. So I actually really enjoy it. And I'm grateful that they play actually quite differently. Now another thing that when it comes to the mechanics, like the characters, they actually level up. So there is like a RPG element in the game. So you actually level up these characters, and every time that you level up, you actually can give them a upgrade for some stats. Like you can make them more defense or more damage, so they can do a little bit more of damage, or you can give them like points so the support board is actually full more faster. Things like that. I think it's actually a pretty interesting mechanic. My only gripe with this, I wish every time that you level up your character, you can give them like upgrades to the abilities only in a single player. But other than that, I actually really like the RPG mechanics. Stay loyal to the Pokemon formula. Leveling up. So I actually don't have problem with that. If they do a sequel, hopefully they implement a little bit more like RPG mechanics, because I actually think it fits this game. It's Pokemon, I don't think you need to go that far away. You can actually, have a little bit of what makes, Pokemon. So I think having them leveling up and getting like stronger is actually pretty cool, and you actually can turn it off and on. So it's up to you. So there's not really a bad thing about it. I just wish it was a little bit more when it comes like more in depth, but that is about it. So of course you do fighting like always, but you actually have different variations. So first there's actually a mode that you can select with items. Now this mode is kinda useless. So how it works is like a normal battle, but you get some items and they give you more health, maybe more defense, more attack power, other stuff, and you really didn't notice. It plays the same, just I think they try to do like NetherRealm does with Mortal Kombat, but I think it just kinda useless. I don't really enjoy it, the game mode, and I don't feel really, the impact. Now there's actually another game mode that I actually really enjoy it, and it's 3 versus 3. So every player pick 3 characters, and so how it works is actually pretty simple. When you defeat an enemy or the enemy defeats one of your Pokemon, you actually choose one of the truth remain of the one that you actually have remained, and they reset the round. It's actually pretty fun, although if you Pokemon pass the round and you still have damage, in the next round has actually damage, so in a recover. I think actually pretty fun. Nothing really crazy like a Marvel game, but it's not actually that bad. Now another thing that they have is actually daily missions, and this one plays a little more different, and I wish we had a little bit more of this, because they actually are quite fun. So they choose a team for you, so you need to use probably a Pokemon that you're not familiar. I think that's actually pretty fun, and they actually have different like rules, so you can actually play. I think actually was actually pretty fun. Now what about the training? So there's actually training mode. You can learn the basic attacks for your characters, combos, the main mechanics of the game. I think they did actually a pretty good job for teaching. It's actually a pretty good tutorial, absolutely. Now something else you can do a little bit is actually customization. So your character actually has customization, nothing really crazy like a JRPG. Your character looks really anime, it's fine, but it's actually a little bit of customization, and you actually get this between battles. The same with missions. So the daily missions are a little different because you need to fight, but there's actually missions in the game that you need to do perhaps win 30 games. Now it's locked by the league, but it not really matters. So you actually have different missions, like use maybe Digger, like the Pokemon 24 times, maybe use Q1, other stuff, and they give you actually rewards. They give you titles and they give you customization. I think that's actually, I wish we had a little bit more, and I would like not to be locked, because it's locked by the league that you need to enter a specific tournament to access those missions. And I think it's actually really annoying. Just give me all the full list of side missions or like mini mission, whatever, and I will actually do it. So not lock me. That's the problem with this game. They try to restrict you with everything. It's actually a really change they do this. I don't think why they do this with this game. I think that's why this game is not really that popular, just because they retrain you so much. Like, they have good ideas, but the execution is like they were afraid to try it to be better than Tekken. Probably, I don't know. It just, I like some of the ideas. It just, they actually lock you. So I don't know, like it. Now, how long is the game? First, you actually can play online. So, and longer, so of course it's going to be a game that you can play for a long time. But if you're going to talk about when it comes to the single player content, maybe 5 hours when it comes to the single player content. Now, of course, like I said before, online other stuff, so that can actually, of course, rise up your hours. But honestly, I don't really recommend the game. Unless you are a Pokemon fanatic like me, that actually, like Pokemon, absolutely, because I think the game looks amazing. Some few problems with the visual, but pretty good. And I wish, the Pokemon they do like this in the main series. But honestly, if you are a fighting fan game and you like Tekken, Street Fighter, I don't think so, man. I don't think this game is actually for you. Honestly, there's a lot of stuff here that it's actually a little bit annoying. So if you like Pokemon, experience it, and that's about it. Not really spend. I don't really recommend it. Or like I said, you have to be a Pokemon fan. Honestly, if not, it's a pass. So thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the review, and see you in the next one. Peace.